Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm just going to go over a bunch of miscellaneous Smite 2 news that I've missed over the past, few weeks or so. There's a few deep dives, there's some Ascension Pass stuff, there's some, information on when the alpha is going to be releasing, and their plans, going from alpha into closed beta, into open beta, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of you guys have said you missed my Smite 2 update videos, so we'll just go over it all the stuff that I've missed, recently. There's mostly small stuff, we'll cover a bunch of different stuff in this video. So yeah, let's just jump right in with, Smite 2 Ascension Passes, which is going to be, the new progression system that's going to be associated with every single god in Smite 2, so let's just jump in.
Hey everyone, Isaiah here. With Founders Editions now on sale, we wanted to go over a little bit more.
Oh yeah, Founders Editions. I don't think I've mentioned this in the video yet. If you haven't picked up your Founders Edition yet, you can head over to nexus.gg/intersect and pick it up there. No extra cost to you, but it helps support the channel as well, so if you're looking to pick up Founders Editions as we get closer to the alpha, you can head over there and support the channel. I appreciate it.
Info on the all-new Ascension Passes. Let's take a look at Smite 2's new mastery system and how you can ascend to new heights with Ascension Passes. Each time you play as a god in Smite 2, you earn worshippers. Accumulate enough and you'll gain mastery levels, unlocking rewards that show off your prowess with that god. As you progress through mastery levels, you'll unlock cosmetics for
Oh, okay. So some weird new mastery skins. Not final, thank God, because these look awful. But I assume these are sort of concepts of different color schemes that they're going to have for different mastery systems. Or different mastery skins, sorry, like we had in Smite 1. We have gold, legendary, diamond. Maybe these are going to be, obsidian and gold and fucking pink. I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of different ones by the looks of it.
And with the Ascension Pass, you'll unlock even more rewards. Ascension Passes are your tickets to the ultimate Smite 2 experience. For gods you ascend, you'll receive a permanent worshipper boost. The first 11 gods Ascension Passes can be unlocked by grabbing a deluxe Founders Edition, but picking up an ultimate Founders Edition will net you access to the first 23 gods Ascension Passes. For more information, check out our Ascension Pass blog post that goes over the system in more detail.
Yeah, so we'll check that out in a second. I'm not sure what the plans are on how you're going to purchase these. I don't think they've mentioned anything about it. Based on the fact that they come with a bunch of cosmetics and you're going to get them for buying a Founders Edition, I would assume these are going to be gem purchases. It would be nice if you could buy them with favor though, even if it's a lot of favor or whatever the currency is going to be, the non-premium currency in Smite 2. But yeah, I imagine these are probably going to be gem purchases. You'll pay 400, 600 gems or whatever. But yeah, there's a blog post here as well to go along with this video. There's a little bit more in-depth information on what's going to be in these new Ascension Passes. So play games of Smite 2 to earn worshippers, gain mastery levels, earn cosmetic rewards. This is all similar to Smite 1. Many mastery levels will provide cosmetic rewards for free as you level up, and unlock the Ascension Pass to earn additional ones. So it's almost like a battle pass style system. You're going to have a bunch of free rewards on there as well. Hopefully a decent amount, at least comparable to what Smite 1 offered you. But then you're going to be able to pay, presumably, gems to unlock the Ascension Pass, which is going to give you a bunch of additional, almost certainly better, cosmetic rewards as you level up as well. All Mastery and Ascension progress is tracked individually per god. Playing games as a specific god will earn worshippers for that god, which you earn progress towards your Mastery levels. Ascension Passes must also be unlocked per god. Ascend any time and claim the Ascension rewards, even if you already reached God Mastery level 10 on that god. So yeah, you don't need to buy them all immediately to start progressing. There is going to be a worshipper boost though if you buy the Ascension Pass, so technically it will be faster if you buy the Ascension Pass before you properly start playing the god. So the free mastery rewards, you're going to get one skin, clap emote, wave emote, god kill tracker, and assist tracker, which is sort of returning from Smite 1. They used to have these back in the day on if you're using gold, legendary, or diamond skin. It would show your kills, your assists, and your deaths. Looks like they're not going to be tracking deaths anymore, which I guess kind of makes sense. God Mastery level 10 badge as well, Mastery Emblem, and Mastery Emblem stars for levels 11 plus, so you're going to still be getting the star system in Smite 2. Something that will be cool here is the ability to show your Smite 1 mastery, because obviously accounts are linked and stuff like that, so I think it'd be cool if you could show your Smite 1 mastery, it maybe a little smaller alongside your Smite 2 mastery. I think that'd be cool. And then Ascended Mastery Rewards available after the Ascension Pass is bought, so unlocked immediately. You get a permanent worshipper booster, you get one skin, you get a one advanced tracker, which they don't say what this is going to be, and also a God Mastery emote, and then unlock through the mastery levels as you progress, getting more worshippers on your god and stuff. You're going to get 2 more skins, another advanced tracker, a global emote, a title, and additional loading screen cosmetics as well. So yeah, that's all the stuff on Ascension Passes, what you're going to get for them. It seemed like a really cool system. I think it's pretty awesome. It'd be nice if you could buy them with favor, but I highly doubt you're going to be able to do that. It's probably going to be gem-only purchases for these. Okay, next up, we got the deep dive for the logo creation. Just a very short one here on how they came up with the logo. We'll just give this a quick
Jessie
watch.
Rush, and I am a graphic artist in marketing here at Hi-Rez. The Smite 2 logo was a really big responsibility because we wanted to maintain that nostalgia, the importance of keeping that look of the Smite 1 logo for those players was really important to me and also to the department. One of the things that we discussed when starting the design process was whether we were going to use a Roman numeral 2 or the number 2. We went through a lot of design rounds using the Roman numerals, and it just wasn't feeling quite right. And I was designing one day.
I don't know, dude. I think it could have been quite cool with a Roman numeral. I like this one in the bottom right, to be honest. Obviously, this is like concept art. It would have been a lot more polished. It wouldn't just be using the standard like Smite font text that they use for Smite 1. But I think it could have been cool with a Roman numeral.
And just saw that if I cut out that little bit of the E, that we could give that lightning bolt in between the E and the 2. The lightning bolt is very iconic for the game and something we use a lot, so it felt like the right decision. We had it initially without a container around it. To some people looking at it with a fresh eye, it didn't necessarily translate as clearly. When we
yeah, it definitely looks a lot better with
finally
the
added the container around the logo, it was clean and modern and a nice fresh take on.
I do like the logo, but I think if anything it's a little bit too modern looking, like, not because Smite's an old game, but because like it's so mythology based and like almost a little bit gritty in a certain way. It's become less like that as the game's developed and stuff, but I feel like the logo does look a little bit too clean and modern for the kind of game that Smite is. Maybe that's a weird complaint, but yeah, that's the logo creation deep dive, pretty cool. Next, we'll move on to some closed beta, alpha stuff. Basically, the CEO, I'm pretty sure he's the CEO, like the president of Hi-Rez. Yeah, president of Hi-Rez Studios made a post on Twitter about like how they're going to be moving forward in terms of closed alpha tests, when the beta is going to be, all that kind of stuff. So he says, right now we are running very small friends and family tests occasionally on the game once or twice a week for a few hours. These are private tests under NDA with a small group of lucky players and key community contributors. So I'm in these. We've been testing the game for, I don't know, a couple of months now at least. But yeah, all this stuff's under NDA, so I can say that I'm doing it. I can say like if I like it or whatever, but I can't say anything specific about like what we've seen in the tests. Starting in May, we'll be running closed alpha tests. So we do this already when they announce the Founders Editions. They're going to be happening in May. We expect these to last approximately 36 to 72 hours, so probably some kind of like weekend test by the looks of that. And we will run one such test roughly once a month. So as soon as you get access to the alpha, it's not going to be a 24/7 alpha. You're going to be in these tests of like, you know, 1.5 to 3 days basically of when you're going to be able to play the game. This is almost certainly because like the game is changing so rapidly. Like I've been in a few different playtests, and each time I hop in to a new playtest, it's like a lot of stuff has changed. So like they probably can't realistically run the game like 24/7 when they're constantly making these like massive updates and like progressing the game forward. These will have a limited god pool and functionality, but will give the dev team really important feedback on whether the game is heading in the right direction. They will also help test the tech and back end of the game to make sure that it's working at scale in the way we expect. Always tricky for this type of game. Yeah, obviously the tests that I've been in, the tests that other content creators have been in, they're extremely small. You know, there's, even on like the best days, there's probably like 150, 200 of us playing or something like that. And you really can't test the game at scale with that sort of stuff. And once the alpha comes out, you know, we've already seen how many people have bought Founders Packs. It was the #1 trending game on Steam for a while. I'm not sure if it still is. But yeah, clearly plenty of people want access to this, and when you allow people to buy in, you're going to get a massive flood of players compared to like just private tests. So they'll get a lot of like stress testing of the servers and stuff like that. We will give out keys for these tests, plus anyone who bought a Founders Pack will be able to play. No NDA, which I'm very excited about. You know, once this alpha launches, I can finally talk about like my entire thoughts on Smite 2 and start putting out videos about like the actual systems in the game and be specific about stuff. At the moment, I have to be very vague. I can't really talk about like too much of what's going on with it, so it's going to be very exciting when the alpha drops and I'll be able to actually bring you guys proper Smite 2 videos. I'm hoping the first such test will be in a few weeks, early May, unless we run into an unexpected issue. So yeah, expecting the first week or two of May that we'll actually be getting our first alpha test, which is going to be very exciting. Likely around the late summer, we'll transition into 24/7 closed beta. This means the servers will be running all the time, but you will still need either a key or a Founders Pack to play. There will still be a limited god pool and limited functionality, but this will give us the next level of in-depth feedback and data we need to make sure we're on the right track with the game. So yeah, around late summer, so you know, maybe August time or something like that, we're going to be going into a 24/7 closed beta. And at that point, you know, if you have access to the game, it's almost like it's out. Obviously, it's still in the beta phase. It's not going to have every god. It's not going to have close to every god, and there'll probably be some features missing and stuff like that. But you will just be able to come back from school or work every day and hop on Smite 2. That'll be happening like late summer this year. During the closed alpha and early closed beta, the game will have relatively limited systems for new user onboarding and training, since the game will be changing too rapidly to really keep up with those today. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, like they're changing the game so much. So we're assuming most players will either be experienced Smite players or have an experienced Smite player that is helping them through the game's considerable learning curve. Sometime after the 24/7 closed beta, we'll go full free-to-play open beta. That means no key or Founders Pack is required. We will still have fewer gods in the game at that point than Smite 1 has today, but the game will have more new user onboarding systems and be much further along in terms of retention features. Yeah, so all this stuff, you know, like tutorials, different game modes, all the like the features you would expect from Smite 2 will hopefully be there by that point when it launches into open beta. But closed beta may be a little bit like light on the features, so expect that. We don't know when this will be yet. My guess is it will be 2025, however, i.e. not this year. So expect open beta to be quite a while away. He doesn't even say early 2025 or anything. So if you want access to the game guaranteed, obviously you can try and wait for a key or anything if you don't want to buy a Founders Pack or can't buy a Founders Pack. But if you want access to the game anytime soon, buying a Founders Pack is probably the best way to do it. I'm honestly fine with this though. Like, I would rather them take their time with the game. Like, it's not actually been in development all that long if you think about it. Like, they started development basically around the start of year 10. So it's only been about 1.5 years, maybe even a little bit less than that they've been developing the game so far. It's come a long way, but of course there are a lot of systems they need to implement. There's a lot of gods they need to get into the game. There's a lot of systems they need to refine and stuff like that. So I'm actually completely fine if it takes them a while until they're like ready to full release the game. Sure, some of the hype might die down, you know, maybe Summit won't be playing it or whatever, but, like, I think it's fine if the game's going to release in a good state. You know, a good example of that, I guess, would be Baldur's Gate 3 recently, you know, that they released into, like, a beta about, I don't know, how many years was it? Three years at least before they planned to fully release the game, and there wasn't really a whole lot of hype. There was, like, some initial hype, but then, like, by the time the game released, it was an excellent game, and the hype came right back. So I think Smite 2 could do the same thing if they take their time with it. Sometime after the free-to-play open beta, we'll declare the game fully launched. Since Smite is a live service game, this is a somewhat silly milestone because this type of game is never done. Of course, it's going to get continual updates like Smite 1 has. However, this will be a signal that the game has reached a level of polish and completeness that we believe indicates a more complete game. At that point, for example, the god roster will be quite substantial, and the new user onboarding and retention features will be fairly complete, etc. It's a long journey to launch a game as complex as Smite 2, but we very strongly feel the only way to do so is to work very closely with the community at every step of the way to make sure we're on the right track. This approach is similar to how we launched Smite 1, and we believe it is the best way to bring this type of complex PvP game to the market. We're really looking forward to working with the community on the game. And yeah, this is true. You know, oftentimes you see this from like CEOs and stuff, you know, that they're just trying to get PR points, but this is true. Like, they are listening to our feedback as a tester. I can say that they are. But yeah, that's a little bit more information on like when we're going to be going in from alpha into closed beta into open beta, when the game's going to full release and stuff like that. This might be something you've not seen because I think it was just a Twitter post made by the CEO. They didn't make like an official video on it or anything like that. But finally, let's finish off this miscellaneous random Smite 2 news video of just collecting everything that I've missed with the developer deep dive for the user interface.
Let me tell you, taking Smite into UE5 was very, very exciting.
The UI on Smite 1 has been going on for over 10 years, and with Smite 2, we didn't want to just like do everything from scratch.
But we do need to modernize it. And one of our primary goals is to ensure that the game feels better to use, all around.
Working on Smite 1 in UE3 was a pretty dicey implementation process. Everything had to be done with Flash.
Flash is an outdated, unsupported program, so we couldn't really...
Yeah, dude. It's honestly a meme at this point in the community that Smite UI runs on Flash. That's honestly kind of crazy, so good to see them like updating that for Smite 2.
Build the UI, and a lot of the things that we wanted to do, we just couldn't achieve using Flash.
Moving into Unreal 5 from Flash has been really great. We can flex our creative muscles, and we can use the tools such as UMG and using materials and doing animations.
An example would be whenever your ultimate ability is ready to be used, we now have an effect that is just a small burst that's telling you like, hey, you have this really cool thing, come and use it.
Our artists are working color schemes into the items so that when you hit the tab button and you look at your opponent's items and see a swath of
This is excellent. Like, they did this with the starter items in Smite 1. The starter items are honestly, like, probably what items should be, especially in terms of, like, the quality of the graphical art on them. Like, the art on the starter items is incredible compared to most of the regular items in the game. But also, they're color-themed by role. You know, you've got the yellow ADC ones, you've got the orange solo lane ones, you've got the blue mage ones and stuff like that. That's definitely how the items should be. They'll have to be updating this, maybe, as they go on, because sometimes, you know, items get changed to where they're not quite filling the same role anymore. And they might be built on different types of gods and stuff like that. But yeah, having builds like this where it's kind of themed, you know, you can see like, oh, I've got a bunch of orange items in this build that I like and they're working. Maybe this orange item will work for me as well. Like that's a cool system. Definitely a lot of polish in that.
Green and blue, whew, they might be kind of tanky.
We're also looking at ways to present players with options at the start and give them reasons to build each, choices to build each.
For example, we are adding a new tooltip system where whenever you hover over an ability, it's just going to give you tiny little description. So a new player can just get the overall idea just by reading a line, and then from there they can choose to see more things.
Oh, that's cool, dude. Yeah, so if you're just looking for basically what the ability does and how to use it, you get that little quick thing that's not going to fill up too much of your screen. But if you're a big nerd like me and you're interested in exactly how much damage it does, exactly how many protections it gives you, you can open up the expanded view. That's cool.
One area of Smite 2 that needed to feel familiar while also receiving improvements is the in-game HUD. Now, much like the item shop, the HUD had a different experience when you were playing on PC versus on console. In an effort to create the shared experience between PC and console for the in-game HUD, we designed it in such a way that it would be accessible for both platforms.
So we're looking to utilize a lot of Unreal 5 strengths in polish and bringing animation and bringing a lot of life to the HUD and making sure we're seamlessly communicating cooldowns, buffs, debuffs, ability usage, also keeping in mind accessibility and making sure that we give players options over...
That's very much a default Unreal Engine HUD thing there. That's obviously placeholder, but yeah, hopefully the HUD customization is at the very least as good as the new Smite 1 HUD. Like, honestly, that's kind of fine for me. I think the current Smite 1 HUD with the new version that they released like fairly recently-ish is like really good. I think there's plenty of customization in that. And if Smite 2's is that good, which it kind of looks like it is, you know, you can move a lot of this stuff around, it seems. I'm going to be perfectly happy with that.
Fine-tuning their HUD to their preferences and their needs.
Something we're also doing on the UI art side for combat and abilities is refreshing all of the ability icons.
Oh, dude.
Because we want them to be clear. We want you to be able...
Is that going to be every single god getting refreshed icons? That's really good. Obviously, Bacchus is, he had some even older ones than these. Bacchus got an update when he got his visual model update to these ability icons, so that's going to be another, like, refreshment.
Is refreshing all of...
But yeah, a lot of this was needed, especially for some very old gods that, like, haven't gotten a remodel in Smite 1 and probably will never get a remodel in Smite 1 now, realistically, because they'll be released in Smite 2 with effectively a remodel. But yeah, some of the older gods that have never gotten a remodel, their ability icons look like they were made in 2012, which they probably were, some of them. So yeah, definitely nice to see them all get an update.
The ability icons, because we want them to be clear. We want you to be able to see an ability and feel the vibe in the artwork, and make sure that when you're smashing that ability, you're getting the full experience on the 2D side as well.
Why is this guy leveling and her pillar, dude? Also, why am I noticing these things and not just paying attention to this beautiful video that they've made for us? Why is he leveling on her pillar, dude? I'm crying.
Other areas in Smite 2 that are receiving these improvements while still trying to feel familiar to Smite 1 are learning about your god, editing your player profile, and onboarding, which is going to be super important. But don't worry, you're going to hear more about that later on.
We wanted to approach the UI with a theme that matches the world of Smite, the gods that you play as. We want the player to feel they have the tools they need to play.
My god, dude, Fenrir is looking beefy in Smite 2.
Without weighing them down.
Everything that you are seeing right now, it's still on this evolving process, and every day it's changing, and that's why it's exciting. And at the end of the day, what makes a great UI is not what the devs want, but what the players want.
I sincerely hope you all will appreciate all of the fine detail and tuning and hard work that we are doing on the Smite UI team to make this all come together and feel really, really nice.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a lot better than it did in, like, the super early days. Like, when they first showed the trailer and when I first played in some of the playtests, like, the UI's definitely gotten a lot better since then. And obviously, as we talked about earlier in this video, like, it's quite a while until the game will be considered a full, like, release state in terms of these kind of features, so there's plenty of room for improvement there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I've seen a lot of comments, like, asking me to keep up to date on the Smite 2 news and stuff like that. There's just been not really a whole lot to talk about with it, so I just left it a little while. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in one video for you there, and just, like, keeping you updated on all the news. And yeah, I will catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.